All right, welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and today it's going to be kind of a quick one because I'm yet again talking about a deck that I really like that no one plays, or at least haven't given it much of a chance. Let's just put it that way. The thing about it is that pretty much every single set there is a premium pack, and I think the last couple that I remember had a Toa, it had a Xeno Sin, it had a Sin Shenron. All of these cards came with the premium pack. This last one in the Dawn of the Z Legends came with a Vegeta support card that I really liked. This one was the 1-drop Vegeta card. This bad boy reads, as soon as you play it for 1, if you lead a card, is the backside is a Vegex Xeno card. When this card is played from your hand, look at the top 5, you add up to 1 Vegeta Xeno, Trunks Xeno, or Vegex Xeno, all black, add them to your hand and or place into your drop, and then shuffle your deck. This is pretty cool because you can add a Vegeta super combo, you can add a Trunks, either the one you play from warp or the one that you can warp and then draw 2, or really any of the other Trunks Xeno cards. There are a couple other Vegeta Xeno cards. Obviously the Trunks that got banned, probably can't see that one or find that one anymore, even though it's at 1, but you can still do that. And then Vegex Xeno, which is going to be the 6 and 7 drop, which is the whole reason why you want to play this card in the first place, because the activate main says limit 1, pay 1. If you have 3 or more energy, leader star is the backside of a Vegex Xeno card. You can place 1 Trunks Xeno card from your drop or warp, which is why the auto says place into your drop if you'd like. Play up to 1 Vegex. Energy cost is 6 in your hand on top of this card, which I really wish this was hand or deck, just like how we have most archetypes, but I guess it's only 1 energy. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of why they kind of neutered it a little bit. There are other ways that you can cheat this card out. I think there's a Catapesla card that plays 1 drops on your opponent's turn through a counter, but most of the time you can play this for 1, awaken, and then pay 1 more, and then go into a 6-drop afterwards, which is the whole reason why I think this is a really good deck. Let me take that back. Vegex is a better deck now. it got hit like 20 times through Universe 7 or Universe 2, and as well as Turles and the Trunks card and Vegeta card, that type of thing. It has gone through a lot, and yet it is kind of like the cockroach of DBS at this point. For some reason, somehow, some way, if black is in anywhere in the format, Vegex is creeping along into that as well. The only downside to this is RNG, and as well as it's black. You know, this card and as well as other cards in black don't really have too much protection. But the fact that you can play a 6-drop, a 7-drop, and then pretty much a bunch of other free stuff makes it that much better. Now, do I think that is the best black deck in the format? That's really hard to say because we don't really have the data for black decks right now. You know, if you really consider it, there is Vegex, there is Dark Broly, there is Trunks Xeno, there is Kai with the new Kai support, but because of all of the red and the lack of barrier and removal protection that black doesn't have, or I guess the lack of barrier protection or protection, whatever, people aren't really trying black. Plus, in the last couple events, there's been a lot of blue as well as red, and blue is known to be pretty hard against black and just black in general. Well, Vegex and black in general, I should say. I personally think it's a strong deck. I played it on stream a little while ago. I'll link it in the description below as well. That was against Hayden, and I got a huge board just throughout the entire game, and ended up taking game against his green deck, which he's playing a green deck, so hey, it's not really saying too much, I guess. But it was really fun, and I kind of showed the capabilities of the deck. So you might be wondering how the deck looks like now, and this is pretty much what I have so far. And it's been doing pretty good. I've recently changed the Kai, the Unison, and as well as Battle Cards Warp Kai for the Time Patrol Maiden, because you just end up having more battle cards on your field, and you just may as well just take the, hey, you can't attack with battle cards anymore type of turns. And that actually probably would have saved me a lot of different games instead of just the Kai. The Kai's been clutch against Unison based decks, which this, you know, is like whatever against Unisons, but this is pretty good. Plus the activate main, remove or choose and take control of one of their battle cards is really good in the first place too. But overall, to get the kind of gist of what you want to do is that you want to play one of your one drops for the first turn, especially if you're going second. You play the time regulator to get a Trunks Xeno into your warp, or one of the True Fighting Spirit in order to use the thwarting, which is at 1 unfortunately now, but definitely needed to be at 1. Another reason why black isn't being played right now. But we have both the 7 and 6 drops at 4 because there's 2 reasons. One, the 1 drop here, as soon as you play it on turn 3, you don't really want to play it earlier then because they can just remove it. Pretty much every deck has some sort of small form removal now, especially through Z decks too. Like black is as well is not being played because of the Z deck or the lack of Z deck options that you have. But everybody else has really good Z deck options and can remove things. So you don't really want to play this early on. You want to play it on turn 3 and then get one of these boys out on the field. So if you didn't know, by the way, the 6 drop says it's a double strike 25k, which is awesome for 1 energy for 1. You can use battle cards in your warp to use the union skill, but you're not doing that. In a pinch, you can probably tap 3 to do it, but you don't really want to do that. This is going to be the only way that you want to play that. And then when it's played, you use, or you can add up to one battle card, energy cost of 4 or less from your warp and add it to your hand. What I usually do is that you go to 4, pre-awaken, you swing with something else, you use a super combo here, and then you use either Beyond the Limits or Time Regulator to warp something, or warp your warp, I should say, or even Dark Broly if you want to warp something and get a 30k. And then after that, Burst of Strength comes out, because all of these are free, by the way. You grab, you use the 6 drop to grab the warp super combo afterwards, and then on the second attack, what happens is that everything below the 6 drop goes to drop, and then you Xeno Evolve, which sends the 6 drop into warp, and then you can use this guy in 30k double strike in active mode afterwards. When it attacks, you get to warp something on their field, which is awesome. It's great form of removal, and it really does get around a couple different things. So the first thing it gets around is that, hey, if you pay 1 and they say, hey, I Trunks Xeno it, or Trunks God Sealing, that sucks. You probably will have this removed, but if they don't remove it, you just pay 1 and then do it again next turn. You don't do any targets to put it under. And if they do remove it, then you can just power burst and get it back. So it's not too much of a big deal to do that. This probably should be at 3, just as a reference, or as a preference to you. It's up to you if you want to do that. And then again, so the first turns you want to use obviously leader effect to get out the free stuff like Time Agent, Trunks, and Vegeta and Kai. The Trunks Regulator, Beyond All Limits, or the Dark Broly. By the time you have either 3 or 6 in your drop to warp it, and then by the time you do awaken again is when you use the Trunks Burst of Strength, or Vegeta Burst of Strength. The Trunks over here searches pretty much all of your deck that is useful, except for the Vegek stuff and the big boys, I guess. You either get a Black Saiyan energy cost of 4 or less, or a Unison energy cost of 2, which if you notice, we have the Spirit Resonance Unison. I prefer this one. It's a 3 marker on turn 2 that draws you a card and gives you the -2 effect to warp. It's searchable by the Trunks, which you can use for the Vegeta effect as well, which is why you don't use the Gogeta starter deck Unison, or Gotenks Unison, sorry. So yeah, that's why you don't use that one. You use this one. You just want more of a hand advantage, and you want to be able to search it out. And then that's pretty much it. You know, everything else is pretty much just Vegeks in general. Petrification, just because there are a lot of good cards out there, even like the 8-drop Sin or whatever it may be, where you can just use Petrification and it just stops your turn. This is the only card that I would say like it's kind of a flex spot. Depending on what you go against, there's a lot of cards that say combo from your drop. So Majin Buu's in 60 attack is going to be a good thing to get that, get around that and to remove that option for them. And as well as you just get more stuff into your drop, which is what you want. You know, you want to use the Dark Broly effect, the Beyond All Limits, time time regulator, or get the free stuff out as well. The other two things to know is that Father Son Bonds is a emergency card for the Burst of Strength. This is another target, so 6 in total, and as well as you get to play it for free. So in a pinch, if you get board wiped, which is going to happen, you can use the Vetrix for free to evolve, and then use a Burst of Strength to use it to get it back with Beyond All Limits. Either Beyond All Limits will get back the 6-drop here, or this one, get it to hand, use the Burst of Strength, and then using it evolve again from your hand as well. So there's definitely lines of play everywhere, and it's a bummer that none of this stuff has protection, or else it'd be a huge contender for Nats for sure. But overall, I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. Demigra is pretty ass, but it is a card, so you can do that if you want. That's all I can say on that one. And then Surmounting the Impossible is awesome. It is a 5k, so which means you get to bottom deck some of these boys or girls, or anything useless in your hand, and then draw one and take a life, which is awesome because you need to be able to take a life when you want to. Power Burst, True Fighting Spirit, as well as Surmounting the Impossible are going to be the ones, and as well as Time Agent Trunks, I guess. But I haven't really had an issue awakening. You don't really want to awaken using your drop. You want to use your life. That is it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I did the gameplay video on a stream that you can check out in the description below. If anything, try out the list in your locals. Try out the list against your friends. Maybe even do a tournament, like a smaller tournament, to see really what it is about. But I think it is a pretty decent deck, honestly. I just can't recommend it for regional right now, without red being checked right now. Like if red gets checked, blue probably doesn't really need to check. I don't think really struggling this blue. Yellow is kind of annoying, but you get around a lot of the stuff for yellow, and I don't really mind too much for yellow. You just kind of ignore the barrier threats, which a lot of them aren't really all that, and you just kind of go aggro. So either way, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any other deck ideas before I start all of my anniversary box stuff, let me know as well. Like, dislike, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you next one.